I knew that I need to do lots of changes to the system if USA wants to become an ODI country. So yeah, it was a very challenging path and totally different from what I had in Nepal.
It wasn't all smooth sailing. Like you said, there were a lot of challenges. You win that first tournament in 2016, but then you go to Uganda in 2017 and you almost wind up getting relegated. There are a lot of things that happened on the tour. The Singapore match was, I thought, a huge missed opportunity. At one point, I remember even at the innings break, you were talking about, oh, we were going to shoot for a 300 plus score. And even though we got bowled out early, we still got plenty of runs on the board, but it's a flat wicket. Stephen Taylor in that game, I thought Stephen Taylor was going to score a double hundred in that game, the way he started off batting. The wicket was so flat and he was batting so well. And you guys went from looking like posting 350, 360 to getting bowled out. And I think the 44th over, and then Singapore chased it because it was a very flat wicket. As a consequence of that, and then the Canada loss very nearly come close to relegation, but you rallied back on the final day against Uganda with a very dramatic victory in the waning overs to avoid relegation, which would have been catastrophic. But still, the events of that tour and not being able to get promoted, it exposed some flaws in terms of the team setup. What did you see over the course of that tour that woke you up to the fact that you needed to make a bunch of changes, not least to do with the captaincy and going from Stephen Taylor to Ibrahim Khaleel and a whole lot of other changes as well?
Yeah, I think I mean, like I said, like even though we won the Division 4 in Los Angeles earlier year in 2016, I was not. I know that these things are not the right things to do moving forward. But after winning a tournament, I don't want to jump in and do changes and so I let it happen, and I thought that I'm going to work hard with the current system and see whether I can, with the staying in that system and correcting it or putting into the right direction. That's what my initial thoughts, and we went to Uganda and nothing went really our way. Even though it was a very good team, it just showed that if you're not playing as one group, one unit, things can go wrong any day. So and after that tournament, I thought that was my opportunity to turn around things, and I was so clear what I want to do, and took few risks, change the captaincy, change some of the players who were playing there for a while, and they thought that they never can be touched because of some the performance their past performance and history. It was not easy. It was not easy decisions, but I think one by one we clear things and put the right blocks in place. And I think that's I mean it was not just a like a 1 or 2 months work. It's I think every tour, if you're talking about the regional qualifiers, T20 qualifiers, or Super 50 tournaments that we had, two Super 50 tournaments we played, and then tour to Oman that we had. All these tournaments were used to build one block at a time and clean up all the unnecessary things and got everything into the right direction.
Part of that process, you talked about building blocks. Part of that process in building things up, there was also some tearing down at points too. So in North Carolina, leading up to the Division Three revisit tour in Oman, following up the Division Three in Uganda. So the team goes to North Carolina. They have the T20 World Cup qualifier. They go 5-1 in that. There was the super over loss to Canada, and then the very dramatic win over Canada a few days later, where Stephen Taylor hits 22 off the final over. But I think one of the stories hidden from the public that the public might not be aware of, but it's kind of a poorly kept secret within the U.S. cricket fraternity in terms of the players in the national team group, that win over Canada, there are not really too many celebrations. And either that night or the next day, there was a team meeting where, I say team meeting, 7 players in the squad called a meeting with you, and basically it looked like there was going to be a mutiny where they were revolting against Ibrahim Khaleel as captain, and they made it abundantly clear they did not want to play under him as captain anymore. And that was a huge turning point in U.S. cricket and of course, the journey over the next couple months. Now, you had publicly pledged your backing to Ibrahim Khaleel prior to that on other occasions, but the fact that there were a couple of factors. He was in poor form. His batting form was not good. Separate to that, the fact that you had basically the majority of the squad coming to you personally to say, we're not playing under this guy. Even if we just won this game, we don't want to play under him going forward. Did you feel that if you backed Khaleel, you were risking the team revolting against you as well? Or was there some other factor besides his own form that led you to ultimately take the decision to say we have to remove him as captain and take him out of the squad?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that I haven't talked in public about this. I'm glad you asked about this. Like, I mean, to be honest, like, I just have to say some things about Ibrahim. Like, you know, he's one of the best captains that I've gone through. I mean, of course, Paras is up there with anyone in associate cricket, but the biggest issues that I had at the beginning of USA, like, you know, I mean, for you to do to win these do or die tournaments where, like, in 5 games you had to qualify, you had to come be in top 2, you know, in associate cricket, you have to have a good captain, especially the tactical side. I mean, I can say Ibrahim is up there with anybody. He's top captain. He knows what to do, the bowling changes to field settings to all these little game plans that we talked about. He's a guy who will go and execute that perfectly on the field. So once I saw him, I thought that this is the guy who can, you know, drive this team to the next level. But you know, the USA cricket is totally different from whether it's South Asia or even in like even in other test playing nations. Like the North American system is like where we have to respect everybody, whether they are top players or whether they are average players or whether they are not doing what we wanted to do. There always has to be a balance how you handle them, and it's all about how you get the best out of each individual differently. So one part Ibrahim was lacking was, like, you know, that the relationship that he with the other you know main players in that group. And he always had Ibrahim always had my backing. I mean, I was blindly supporting him because I thought that his captaincy can take into the next level. And but I was actually working with him closely to develop the other side of it, where, you know, how to, you know, build this relationship with these main players and how to, you know, keep them happy, and, you know, and the respect to each other and all this stuff. Like, I was working very close to him. And then with all these things, like, you know, in North Carolina, when this group of players, especially the main guys, came to me and complained that some of these things has to change. It's not that me and the ICC officials there took just a one time, like, straight decision. Is just that we put back to all these things to Ibrahim, and we were trying to correct things. And because it was a risk, whatever we do, it's going to be a risk. Like, because 2 months time, we build all these team into the, you know, and you have another do or die tournament in Namibia, so we cannot have big changes. But some of the things that we couldn't bring it to the same table with the same in the group. So then I had to weigh out and see what's going to work to the future. So in that one night, it was not an easy decision to take, but in that one night we took the decision, saying that we need to change the captain, and the captain needs to be some guy who can build that relationships and you know, keep these guys together. And then we did that change right there with in that tournament. But that also wasn't planned. I mean, wasn't really happened in that overnight. Actually, the last game that actually beginning of the tournament, I proposed Ibrahim also, like, let's give Saurabh a captaincy last game just to keep him ready as well. moving forward. So that that just happened before that, and then right away we gave it to Saurabh to take over in the final game of that tournament, and he has to continue from there.
Were you blindsided by all these players coming to you in the manner that they did, or did you see things kind of bubbling under the surface leading up to that moment?
These things are not new to me. I mean, in my earlier jobs also, I have seen players coming against the captain and the leadership, or anything regarding about, like, the board or anything. But I will only support if the things are, I mean, if the complaints or the things that they bring up is if I see that these things are right, I support them. If I see that these things are not right, I will not support them, regardless of if you have everybody on the other side. But that night, the things that playing group brought it in. I mean, those are very clear things where I had to accept those things because they had some valid points.
Can you discuss? Are you able to discuss what those valid points were for people who are not aware?
I mean, the main points are, like, if I had to say one or two things, main points are the respect to individuals. I mean, you can respect can be described in different ways, but I but I feel that to be fair with Ibrahim also, like, I mean, I don't think that he meant anything wrong to anyone. He was just doing his job. But the culture that we have in North America, people expect more, like, when it comes to respect and other things. So some of the things happen on the field, off the field. The players were not happy. I mean, I also, as a coach, I strongly believe that I need to keep every player happy, but not doing anything wrong things, but if they're giving 100% on the field, I want them to be satisfied with things that we off the field. Like, I'm a person who always fight with every board that I've been worked with for the financial. Like, I would like to get the players get more money, more support, just to, like, to keep them working hard, nothing else. Like, it's just that if they're giving 200% full time, I also would like to give them back something for them to be happy for their work. So that's actually my way of handling players. And when we lost us respect here and there, and when you don't have that relationships, I don't think that even my theories can work in those in those atmosphere. So nothing was easy, and I still feel bad for Ibrahim, because he would have contributed lot to USA cricket, even as a captain, or even outside of the field, like, in the administration side. He's very, very knowledgeable about the game, but those decisions were just to do the right thing at that time, and to move forward the USA cricket in the right direction.